Hello there and welcome to Future Music from the Robot Lab interview file 10. And tonight I will be interviewing Brian Belknap from My Machine. Hey Brian, thank you for joining me.
Hey Michael, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a beautiful day out in sunny Los Angeles. How are you?
Nice one. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's been pretty sunny here too, so I've just been having a bit of a walk in the sun and everything, like I do, because I like that sort of thing. And yeah, just getting prepared for tonight and just recorded another show, and yeah, we're all good.
Fantastic.
Cool. So you are from Los Angeles, yes?
Yes, born and raised in Los Angeles. Lived here all my life. Spent a few years out in San Francisco, but basically out here.
Nice one, man. And you are best known for being the frontman of Mind Machine, who I've played many times on my show. Could you tell me about the history about the band and how did you and Brian Olsen meet?
Sure. Let's see. My Machine goes back to when I was a wee boy in high school. So I was 16 years old. Brian and I met back in 1989. So
nice.
Let your listeners do the math. I won't do it out loud. So we've known each other quite a long time. So we met through a mutual friend that I went to school with. And he was friends with Brian from earlier in his life. And we all had an interest in similar synth music and bands and the like. And I don't know why they asked me to sing for them. I wasn't necessarily a great singer. I'm still not necessarily a great singer, but maybe I was the lesser of three evils. So we kind of put this little thing together. Brian had been writing songs since he was really young, with a little Casio keyboard and a boombox and recording stuff. And so when the three of us got together, we just kind of played with these little songs that he had written. And, over the years, the lineup swelled from the three of us to five of us at one point, and then back down to three, and then back down at two. And that's pretty much how we got the whole thing rolling.
Nice one. And you've had a 20 or so years absence from music, and a few years back you made your return with a brand new album with the fitting title "Return to the Machine." What was the reason or reasons for having that absence? And the songs "Return to the Machine" were old songs where you left off back then, or are they completely new?
Let's see. Well, 20 years, kind of a long time. We, like I said, we started in high school, so we were pretty young. And so when we graduated high school around 1991, Brian and I both went off to college, and then the other member was still in high school. So it made it already a little bit difficult for us to kind of rehearse or write or do whatever we wanted to do. So Brian and I really kind of also drifted apart a little bit too, not, for any particular reasons, but I was busy in the theater at school. So I had a lot of late night rehearsals and all that kind of thing. And Brian was off doing his thing. And so we kind of mainly just drifted apart. And between 91 to 95, Brian was still working under the name of Mind Machine and, recording songs and tons of demos and mainly instrumental tracks until around 95. I sang on a few more My Machine tracks that we did. And then kind of after that, we kind of just disintegrated. We never really officially split up or anything. We just kind of were done, So after that, he kind of went off onto his own, and he'd been, writing and recording music up on his own for a good period of time. And he put out a really cool EP under the name of Glasspool called the Unconventional EP. I think that was in 2008, which is really amazing, and everyone should listen to it.
Cool.
It's pretty much a solo EP by himself. And then he originally that project he was in was it was like a duo with another fella, and they had a terrible falling out before the EP came out. So it ended up being more of a solo project than it was originally anticipated to be, and kind of the fallout from that, Brian kind of sold off his gear and, was kind of done with music.
That's a shame.
And then around 2015 or so, I think Brian and I started talking about, good old days, and just remembering the past. I'd found a box of cassette tapes that had all of our old recordings in them. So live performances and demos and all the stuff. And I started, we just kind of sharing it and talking about the past. And he took them and started digitizing them. And, so he was doing that. And then we were like, well, we should do something with these. I thought it was a good time for us. We had fun. And so, I started, putting up a lot of the older songs on a SoundCloud page just for fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we have a SoundCloud page. We should have like a Facebook page. We're not a real band. We're not doing anything, but I feel like we should have that. And, well, we should have an Instagram. We should have a Twitter. And I just started putting things up, for no real reason.
Yeah.
And we kind of just talked, and as things were progressing, we said, kind of brought up the idea, what if we did some more stuff, And so I think it first started off sometime like 2016. We had the idea of taking some of those older demos that we had on those tapes and like putting vocals to them just to see what happens. So I had no gear. I had no recording equipment. I've never recorded on my own. I was like, how am I going to do this? So I started like using my phone. Sounds like crap. I tried a Chromebook. Sound like crap. So I'm just going to go buy a laptop, a mic, learn how to record vocals. And we went from there and just started, working on those old demos that we never finished. And we kind of put those out later, I think the next year in like 2017 or so.
Yeah.
And then, kind of just moved on from that point. And then, gosh, where are we now? We're about. We kept going, and we were like, okay, so maybe we should start writing new songs.
Yeah.
So so eventually, around the end of 2017, early 2018, we started working on the songs that would become "Return to the Machine." Sweet. So I think the first one Brian sent me was "We Keep Walking" back in early 2018, I think.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
All right, that was a whole long story. Of 20 years, I had to cover it all, but but I think to also go back to your question, I think most of those songs from Return to the Machine were new songs. There was a few exceptions, I think there were 2 or 3 that were older songs that Brian never finished on his other projects that we brought to this one, but most of them were all new.
Nice one. And that album spawned 2 singles, which are Clouds of Doubt and Here and There. Could you tell me about those 2 singles?
Sure. Well, Here and There, that is one of the older of the songs. I think that was from around 2002. Brian had a project he was working on called Clockwork Project, and that was one of the songs that he was doing for that. There were mainly demos for himself. He has like about 4 or 5 albums worth of material from that time that he's never really shared. And so this was one of the songs he thought, this is worth working on. We should, make it a Mind Machine song.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much for that one. I don't write any of the lyrics for Mind Machine, at least not since we were like 16. I wrote a couple back then, but everything is Brian. So I couldn't even tell you what the songs are about if I wanted to. I could tell you what they mean to me, but what they mean to him, I have no idea. I don't typically ask unless he says. But for Clouds of Doubt, that was one of the newer ones. And I think Brian and I both agree that's probably our favorite track from the album. It encapsulated everything we were trying to accomplish with moving on from our past sounds and trying to make something a little on a grander scale, a little more epic. And I think Brian really excels in his melodies. And I think he's layered so many different melodies and things on that track that it just is the perfect Mind Machine track for us.
Sweet. So hence its name, Clouds of Doubt, was what you was on about just now, right?
I think so. Yes.
Cool. You've also released a remix album, which is called Remix the Machine, with remixes from Frozen Plasma, Graflex, Parallax, and many more. Was it a tough decision to decide to put on your remix album?
Yes. Definitely. I mean, we've got a lot of fantastic people on there. When we started the project, it was kind of just me talking to a buddy of mine, my buddy Darren, also known as Darwin McD. He was one of the remixers on the project.
Cool, I know the guy.
And yeah, he's fantastic. We were chatting, and he was telling me about remixes and things that he was working on, and we hadn't even thought of like maybe we should have remixes too, like everyone else does.
Yeah.
So I said, hey Darren, why don't you do a remix for us? He's like, okay, sure. And that kind of sparked the impetus. Well, maybe I'll ask a few other people that I know. So, talking to like Fused and Provision and MDA and all the kind of bands that we knew that we were friends with, Friction, Nature of Wires, Grey Disorder. And then we're like, well, maybe we should ask like some people we don't know that we really admire that, maybe they'll probably just tell us no, but it's worth asking. So, started talking to New Division and Ice Fabric and Uncreated, Zoom Politicon, and there were so many, and I just couldn't stop asking people. Originally, it was just going to be a couple songs, and then eventually turned into like, well, now it's nearly every song on the album and some of them twice. So
Yeah.
it became a much bigger animal than we anticipated. But it was just a lot of fun to get to know these other artists and kind of working with them, but not really working with them. It's kind of fun. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's nice to like have a remix and a quite surprised to introduce other artists and such. I mean, like Darwin McDee's remix and also Graflex, who was introduced from you, and
cool.
And Frozen Plasma, I'm a huge fan of, and I think Vassy does some epic remixes with all his projects. I mean, he's got like probably about let's say about 4 or 5 projects of his, and I've heard a remix per project, and they are fantastic. Even his new one, Future Lied to Us, and as Reaper as well. He did a fab remix of Taste by Shivar. Absolutely brilliant, that one. I definitely recommend you listen to that.
He's amazing. I mean, he was one of the ones that were like, okay, he's not going to reply. There's no way when I message him, he's going to be like, hey, sure, yeah. But like, he was like, oh yeah, let me check it out right now. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'd love to remix this. This is a great track. And, then he was, started sending me like drafts of the song. And he's like, I hope you don't mind, but I've completely changed the vocal melody. I'm like, of course I don't mind. You do whatever you want. I want what you want to create. That's what I want. I don't want what we could create, because if we could create it, we would do it. Well, what you can do and bring to it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we were so lucky. There was so many cool people that we got to meet because of that project.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. And are there any upcoming releases with My Machine, and also you're both managing, with the current pandemic situation?
Yeah. I mean, yes, we have a lot of My Machine stuff actually happening, which hasn't been the case for most of the year. We've kind of been on the quiet side. My bandmate had his first child last year, so he's been busy with childhood life. So got to take care of business and family first. It's always what's important.
Yeah, that's understandable. And congrats to him.
Yes, but we have a few things that we've done. We're going to be on an upcoming tribute album to the band Anything Box. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're a big Los Angeles-based synth pop band, started late 80s, early 90s. And so we're working on a tribute album for them. We've got one track that's on the album and then one that we're keeping back that we're going to put on our Bandcamp. And it's basically a charity album for the lead singer. Claude had some major medical health expenses. So there's a bunch of us artists that all got together and put this album together that are we're going to donate all the proceeds to his medical expenses once we finally get it out there.
Nice one.
So that's coming any day now, I'm told. I don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
And then depending when this airs, I don't know when this airs. We haven't really shared anything about our new release, but we have something coming out in just over 2 weeks from now that we're going to be announcing next week. What is the show on? Maybe it'll be the first. I don't know. But it's called the Saying Sorry EP. And it is a compilation of re-recordings of about 6 songs from our very, very, very early days. Some of them that we've never really properly recorded. Well, one really that we've never properly recorded called Saying Sorry, that we've only played live once. And we recorded these because at the beginning of this year, we had finally made plans to play our first live shows in it's been about 30 years since we've played. So we were on a bill for a show that was supposed to be happening this past January. And so we had been working on reprogramming a lot of the older stuff for the live show, and then the show fell apart. So the idea was originally we were going to release that around the time of the show just to have something else out there.
Yeah.
But, as things fell apart, we never ended up getting on another show. No shows are happening. So we decided, we might as well just kind of put this out there as kind of a final goodbye and final chapter to our past songs. No more revisiting those anymore. So those they're basically 6 older songs re-recorded. It's going to be out in a few weeks.
Sweet.
And then next year we're going to start working on the next album.
Nice one, and I'll definitely play that on my show when you release it.
I'll be sending it to you next week. So
nice going, nice one. Can't wait.
You've got the first story, so
yay! Awesome. Right, well, we're gonna have a little bit of a break, and I'm gonna play Clouds of Doubt, Here and There, and 2 remixes from Remix the Machine. So I'll see you in a bit, Brian.
Great, sounds good.
All right, see you in a bit, mate.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
Clouds of doubt.
Hello there and welcome back to Future Music from the Robot Lab interview file 10 with Brian Belknap of Mind Machine. The songs played were Clouds of Doubt and Here and There, both from the album Return to the Machine. And the next two songs played after that were Clouds of Doubt, remixed by Graflex, and We Keep Walking, remixed by Darwin McD. And joining me back is Brian Belknap. Hey Brian, welcome back.
Hello, I'm still here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, I'm still here too. Hey, I'm not falling asleep there on a late night.
No.
Okay, so you've started a new project with Adam Collier from Frontal Disco, which is called Blaklight. How was that brought to life?
Yes. Well, let's see. I met Adam online, as I meet people now. Sometime last year, maybe. He is in many other bands, Full Frontal Disco, Crust 333, and then his band called MDA. And I'd heard their song "Couldn't We," and when we were looking for remixers for Remix Machine, he was one of the people I reached out for, and he remixed our track "100,000 Million."
Okay.
And he runs kind of in the same Southern California synth circles as we do. So we were actually, when he asked me first about this project, we'd actually never even met in person. He asked me, I think it was about late last year, saying he was going to be working on a new project and bringing in different singers to work on things. And would I be interested? I said, sure, I'd love to. And he's like, okay, well, great. You're going to need to write your own lyrics and vocal melodies because I don't do that. And I said, well, I don't either, and I haven't. So if you're willing to give me a chance and let me try, I'd be happy to. And he said, sure. And then I guess it was maybe in around January of this year, we met up at a show for his band Crush 333. And he was like, hey, I'm going to be sending you a song soon. I said, great. And maybe it was around middle of February this year.
Yeah.
He sent me the first track, which is one that's called Under the Blaklight.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me, and it's just this fantastic instrumental. And I listened to it a few times and sent him back a quick little vocal idea for the verse. And he was like, sounds great. Let's keep going. And we kind of just took it from there. He would send me a song, every week or every other couple weeks, because things were just flowing and going really well. And it kind of started off like that and kept going until now we've got a bunch of songs.
Cool. So you live close to each other, or you're like far apart, or?
Yeah, no, we're actually really, not too far. I mean, in terms of Los Angeles terms, no one's too far. He's maybe about an hour and a half drive, depending on traffic.
All right. Okay.
Same with Brian Olsen. He's maybe a half hour, 45 minutes away, depending on traffic too. So none of us are too far away.
Okay. Cool. Is Blaklight on par with Mind Machine in terms of sound? And is there any difference in sounds, or?
Yeah, I think they're pretty different. I think with Mind Machine, we stick to more of a traditional synth pop type sound.
Yeah,
it's pretty clean and straightforward. And I think with Blaklight, I think the sound is a little bit different. I think we bring in a few more different elements of electronic music in there. I think both Adam and I have a lot of varied tastes. So he has, I think for me, I don't think any one song on our album sounds like the next song. I think they all sound pretty different. And plus, I think it's also a little bit different too, because you're getting now my perspective in the lyrics as opposed to Brian Olsen's, and my vocal melodies as opposed to Brian Olsen's. So I think we sound a little bit different, but maybe I'm just fooling myself.
All right. Okay. You've released two singles with Blaklight already, which the first one was called Isolation, which is about the current pandemic, and the second one was called Unknown Love, which I've recently played. What is that song based on?
It's funny when Adam sends me his songs, he's got working titles for all of them. So for instance, like Isolation came to me called Isolation. So I got Isolation. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll leave it as this title. But I mean, I think Joy Division has already, done Isolation pretty well. I don't know what better I could do with that title, but I decided to keep it and try and write something about it that, I think it kind of, definitely touches on what's happening now, but trying to leave it open-ended enough that it could be about, really any time you're feeling isolated.
Yeah.
But it certainly hits home about right now.
Yeah.
And for Unknown Love, that one was sent to me just called Unknown.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I like that. So I just kind of added a little more to it. I mean, it's without getting into too many specifics about what exactly it's about. It's just really kind of about any time any one person starts to feel things for other persons that they may or may not really even know. Whether it's someone they fancy from afar, someone they think they know, or maybe you're friends with that person, but do you really know that person? It's just kind of that feeling of, I don't know, being attracted to someone or something and you don't know why, and maybe you don't even really know that person at all, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. Oh. Are you working on any new singles or an album? And if so, what are they called?
Ooh, we're working on so much. Our album is probably 99.9% finished. We started, like I said, we started in the middle of February. We finished the bulk of it around the middle of August. It's called Music in a Time of Uncertainty. We're going to be releasing it next month.
Nice.
Probably the 20th. I don't know the exact date quite yet, but that looks like that's the date. So we're really excited about that. We've got remixes that we've got coming in for isolation right now that we were going to release in December, but it's probably going to be more like January.
Yeah.
But a lot of great tracks of that. We've got people doing some remixes for Unknown Love. We've thrown around ideas for more covers because we've done a few covers. We've got a track for a tribute album for a band that hasn't been announced yet, so I'm not going to say anything, but it's a synth pop duo that we've covered a song from. So that's coming sometime this year too. And then we've got a track on a compilation for the blog darknesscalling.net that I put together this really amazing compilation called You Are Not Alone Volume 1. And there's 20 tracks by a bunch of dark artists. And all the proceeds are benefiting the Trevor Project, who helps out with the troubled youth, LGBTQ youth, to help with suicide prevention. And we've got a track on that called The Fallen that was exclusive for this compilation that we put together for them. So, yeah, we're busy right now.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing The Fallen at the end of the show as well. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cool. Are things okay for you both with the current situation? And is it hard for you to work, or are you, like, with you being in the same vicinity, is everything still okay in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, it's been a strange blessing to actually be spending a lot more time at home. So, a lot of the lyrics for Blaklight album were written during my workday. Jotting down things and coming up with melodies and that kind of stuff, and being able to record on my breaks or at the end of the day. Where I really wouldn't have had that opportunity before with a longer commute and all that kind of stuff. So, in that sense, that's really helped. I mean, I with Brian and I, we never really meet all that often in person, certainly not to work on any music, but it's normally going to shows or hanging out. But, and Adam and I have only ever worked this way. So I don't really know any different at this point. I mean, it'd be nice to finally see him in person when we're done with all of this to hang out and celebrate the music we made. But
yeah, I think everyone's feeling that, aren't they? I mean, I've got a lot of friends that I want to see. I mean, my mates Paul and Stu, who Paul also a presenter at Sign FM. We're pretty good mates, me and him, and our mate Stu. We've not seen each other for ages. I mean, as a whole group, I'm having to do it like one by one, and yeah, it's a nightmare. But now, with us being in tier 3, we can't see each other, which is a real crippler. But yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
We'll get through it.
We will, yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping all my joints crossed. Yeah, it's a good job I'm flexible.
Yeah.
You've got some B-sides to both singles, Isolation and Unknown Love, one being Fad Gadget's Lady Shave and also David Bowie's Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah, I mean, I think with the Fad Gadget one, both Adam and I are big Fad Gadget fans, and I think we had talked, and Lady Shave is our favorite track of his. And he had done that one on his own during the sessions for the album, just, for fun, and, sent it to me. And he had done the vocals on it. And as we were coming up to putting out the single for Isolation, he's like, hey, how do you feel about, doing the vocals on this, we could put it out as a B-side. And it's like, oh, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. So we did that one, and then when we were planning for Unknown Love, we were like, oh, we should just keep putting covers on as the B-sides. It's kind of fun, and we keep thinking, oh, it's not going to be stressful, but it ends up being really stressful because we keep picking songs that are challenging. I don't know why we picked Ashes to Ashes. It was really hard, but I think we're really happy with the way it came out. I mean, I'm a huge Bowie fan. He's my everything. He's my top favorite artist ever. So, I was like, oh, I could totally do this song. I sing it all the time, in the shower or karaoke or whatever. But when it was actually time to record it, it was so hard. But we were happy with how it came out, and we're going to continue our new tradition of putting B-sides or covers as our B-sides for our upcoming singles. We've already got a few mapped out on what we're going to do. So
awesome, man.
Yeah.
By the way, my mum would love you because she's a huge Bowie fan as well.
Oh, fantastic! He's the best.
Yeah, I think you'll have a geek chat for hours.
No, I'm down anytime.
Awesome. And you've recently said about your new song, which is called The Fallen, and feature on a compilation called You Are Not Alone Volume 1, and raising money for the Trevor Project. And you've said it's raising money awareness for the LGBTQ society, and what is that is the Trevor Project, is it, you said?
Yes. So the Trevor Project helps lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, LGBTQ, queer. Oh my gosh, I should get this correct. Queer youth.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister as well. Yeah.
So they reach out and are helping kids who are having trouble. So we wanted to be a part of that when we were asked. And The Fallen was a song that Adam had demoed during our sessions, but he hadn't sent to me, and we hadn't worked on it at all. And the opportunity came up, and we said, yeah, we want to be a part of it. We'll certainly give them an exclusive track so they can do some good. So that's what we've done.
Awesome. And that is based on the theme of the whole You Are Not Alone thing. Is that lyrically with that, or?
It's funny. It kind of is. It started off being quite a downer of a song, and I didn't feel that what I was writing was really appropriate for the message that the compilation was trying to convey. So I tried to make it more hopeful. But it's definitely about anyone that's has felt fallen or not accepted or whatever it may be, but to know that they're not forgotten.
Yeah, cool. And will that album feature on the will that song feature on the upcoming album, or is that an exclusive track?
It's an exclusive track for this compilation. We've talked about putting it on our second album next year.
Yeah.
When we get that far, but we've already been talking about getting to work on the second album sooner than later. So
yeah,
Adam works really quickly, so I got to keep up with him.
Nice one. And what are your future plans for Blaklight, as well as you're working on a new album? And is there anything else you've got planned?
I don't know. Hopefully, we talked about, when this all ends, maybe trying to play a live show or two out there. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I know that. So I think we've got Adam's done a remix for another band that's going to be coming out as a Blaklight remix, not as one of his many other entities that he has. But really, right now it's focused on getting that album out in a few weeks and see where we go from there.
Awesome. And you said you've got some remixes of Isolation and Unknown Love coming in. Will that be released on like a remix album, or?
Yeah, I think we're gonna do remix singles for these, because for Isolation we've got 6, and we're shooting to have 6 for Unknown Love as well. So those are coming in with Isolation. I think we've got 4 finals and 1 that's almost final and 1 that I'm waiting for, and then Unknown Love, we've been reaching out to people. I think we've got 3 or 4 people that are signed on so far, but nothing nothing coming in yet. So
sweet. Cool.
And then a 3rd and 4th single of some point next year too. So we want to try and keep the train rolling.
Yeah, sweet, cool, man. Yeah, wish you all the best with it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hey, pleasure, man. Right, right. Well, that's the end of the interview, Brian, and thank you very much for joining me.
Oh, definitely, anytime. I really had a good time, and appreciate you asking.
Yeah, me too, man. Absolute pleasure. Right then, well, I'll catch you later, Brian.
Definitely. I'll be seeing you very soon online.
Definitely, man. You take care.
Right. Take care, Michael.
You
Bye.
too, man. Bye-bye. You have been listening to Future Music from the Robot Lab interview file 10 with Brian Belknap of Mind Machine and Blaklight. I've been your host, Exo Skull. You can follow me on Facebook, Mixcloud, Twitter, Bandcamp, and YouTube. And if you'd like to be featured on an interview, please contact me on my Facebook or Twitter page, or alternatively, email me along with some sound files to exoskullfmrl@gmail.com. That's exoskullfmrl@gmail.com. And to end tonight's interview, I'll be playing 5 songs from Blaklight, the first song being their debut single, Isolation, followed by the B-side, their cover of Fad Gadget's Lady Shave, and the third song will be the second single, which is called Unknown Love, followed by the B-side, which is their cover of David Bowie's Ashes to Ashes, and the final song will be The Fallen, which is featured on a compilation which is called You Are Not Alone Volume 1, which raises money for the Trevor Project and the LGBTQ youth community. The Mind Machine albums Return to the Machine and Remix the Machine are available on their Bandcamp, digitally and physically on CD, mindmachineband.bandcamp.com, and the singles by Blaklight, Isolation and Unknown Love are available on Blaklight's Bandcamp, blacklight.bandcamp.com, BLAKLIGHT, and the song The Fallen is available on the digital compilation You Are Not Alone Volume 1 via thereishope.bandcamp.com, available now for pre-order and due for release 31st of October. And coming up now are the 5 songs that I mentioned, starting with Isolation. Thank you for listening, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Underneath the moon, It's not late. Lady shave. Don't slip down the lane. Worried girl.